Homer led the league in tackles with 85. The deep ball for Darius Prince, and Philadelphia's on the board first.
On the draw, this is Bryson Alene. And Alene weaving his way all the way down to the 22.
10-yard line, 5. Mayfield, Dancy, all around. Throwing as far as he can throw it. Jump ball coming. Crazy stuff. Not this time.
And you want to be a wide receiver, you're going to have to take a little bit of a hit like that as Brown got him in that shoulder, but watch. Those are teeth.
Do we have a dentist on staff here?
All right, today we are joined by a former AFL player and current head coach of the Rapid City Marshals, a man who once held nearly every record in the Quad City Steamwheelers history, Mr. Saturday Night himself, Shon King. Coach King, we are pumped up to have you here today. How's your day going so far?
It's going good, man. Can't complain. Just kind of kicking back, watching some TV. Actually, I really just got back from there's a soccer match going out here. The number 4 team in the nation for junior college girls is playing. So I went and I trained them and the men's team. And so I watched that for a minute before I came back for this interview.
Very nice. Very nice. That's an awesome way to start the day, I imagine. How's the weather out there?
Oh, it's cold. It's freezing. It's about 28 degrees. So, I'm glad I don't have to, be out there like that in there anymore. So I'm good.
There you go. There's some upsides to playing indoor football, I imagine.
Yeah. But I mean, the outdoor game is the traditional thing. But yeah, playing indoors or having the luxury of having a stadium that is built indoors is a great, a great accessory to have.
100%. So I wanted to start with the obvious question. In 2023, you served as the head coach for the Billings Outlaws, where you obviously found a lot of success, led your team to the playoffs, but the promotion didn't come until mid-season. So I was curious how it's been different for you this offseason to be able to prepare as the head coach since day one.
Oh, it's a definite change. Being, that I had a little bit of experience in doing this before, it was obviously more of I guess it's more of a gratifying feeling because it's your players. You're not just being kind of like, even though you accept the job and it's a challenge or whatever, but you're not just being thrown into a situation where you gotta take over so many other things to get things rolling the right way. So like now, this situation just feels like it's such a breath of fresh air, just because it is my own situation and I can start from the beginning, putting the pieces together and do it how I want to do it. You know what I mean?
Coach, really appreciate your time on this Sunday afternoon. Last year, you transitioned from assistant head coach / offensive coordinator to head coach in just a short time with the Billings Outlaws. And then you went on a 5-1. You had a 5-1 record, took us into the playoffs. What were the key factors behind this success?
Well, there were some things behind closed doors. We just had to tighten up the ship a little bit. Again, with no offense to any other coaches that were there, when it's your show, you want things done your way, and then everybody on board has to be, willing to do it that way. And then if they're not, and it's not always insubordination, but if they're doing things that aren't leading to the betterment of the team, then we got to get rid of people. And so we ended up having to do a little bit of house cleaning. But once we did that, and we just kind of started doing some things more internally, and being accountable and all that kind of stuff. Once we got that going, and it took a couple of weeks. It didn't just happen instantly. But once we got it going, it was going pretty good there. So I look forward to being able to have this 2024 season just be a continuation of that, because that's how, we'll do things from the get-go.
Absolutely. Coach, I wanted to ask about your staff that you've put together so far. So if you want to just run down who you've hired and what positions they hold, that'd be great.
Well, I mean, I can't really disclose all of that right now because we still got a couple of things out there. So, but we will have with the guys that I have in mind right now, we will have some guys that have some experience in the arena game, the original old school arena game, so that they can get out here and coach these guys and teach them the right way, so that they can play the game the right way at a high level.
Coach, you've had an impressive journey both as a player and a coach. What's been your biggest learning experience from the field that you apply as a head coach?
It's crazy you say that, or ask that. I go back to my 2000 Quad City year when we went undefeated, and I really take a lot from that experience and how Coach Frank Hagee did things, how he molded that team, how he, the different things that he did, and those are the same kind of things that I try to still instill into my guys and into my situation or organization where I might be. So I'm really fortunate enough to have that kind of situation happen. Even though it was kind of the same thing in Tulsa, we had a really good group there with Skip Foster, and a good group of guys, and that's what it takes to win in this game. So if you got to be doing things right. And so I played for, and not only those two coaches, I played for a couple other great coaches, that have a history in the Arena Football League. So when you're doing things the right way, and seeing some of the things that are done wrong, you kind of learn, because it's easy when it's all winning and stuff, but when you are not winning or you got some trouble brewing underneath and things like that, it's how you handle that, because those things pop up, and that's how, it's easy for the team to be distracted in things through the course of a season if it's not taken care of the right way.
That makes a lot of sense. So during your playing career, you played wide receiver and defensive back. I'm curious, do you take a particular interest in this position in particular?
Well, see, I played receiver linebacker too. So I won a championship as an offensive specialist, and then I also won a championship as a receiver linebacker. So again, that's so when you ask that question, I'm looking at my offense in a certain way, because we're going back to the Ironman game. I've been around the Ironman game, and then I was around arena football when they switched it over to the single side when I was coaching in the AF2. So there's a little bit of a difference, because you don't just have three offensive specialist type of guys. So, I mean, you can. That's how you would like. For me, I'm that type of guy. I mean, from the offenses and the people I played for, I know how I want to build my team. But yeah, you want solid guys. You got to have guys that can also, because you can't just be one-sided. So you want guys that can to play both sides of the ball, but be really quality. I mean, and really, if a guy is like myself, okay, for instance, I was more offensive-minded person. I hadn't played defense since like Pop Warner, but because I was so deadly on the offensive side, the team just didn't really care when I went to play as a two-way guy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I still made my plays. It wasn't so much of a risk, but I was more offensive heavy than a defensive guy. You know what I'm saying? So as I build my teams, I kind of know the philosophy that I'm looking for, or that I have, that I'm looking and know what I'm looking for to build, that kind of roster.
Coach, the AFL has a history of challenges. As the new head coach of the Rapid City Marshals in the relaunched league, what is your vision for this team and the league's future?
Well, first, I think, I was around when I've come from a couple other leagues that were relaunched and all that kind of stuff. So I really just thank Lee for putting his neck out on the line for this great game, and making it possible for us older arena guys to have an opportunity to come back and play, or to coach in this league. You know, that's very important to me. So you know, when they came back with the or when they started the talks of this stuff, I made sure that, you know, I was trying to get a hold of people because I wanted to be involved, you know, in any way that I could. So, and not to get, I got sidetracked a little. What was your second question there?
Just your vision for the team and the league. So,
okay. So yeah, so I really see, again, I was around for the IPFL before the IFL was around. We had 6 teams and we traveled all over. We flew all over. So They've been in that kind of situation. I've been in the situation in Quad City, AF2, when that first started. You know, those were all. And the thing now that kind of, I mean, I don't get too into social media that bad, but kind of irritates me about some of these people is they, like I said, I witnessed and played in those other leagues when they started like that. And if I would have heard all this stuff, and then to be so negative about, you know, a guy or people, a group trying to start something else, especially this great game. This game is way different than the indoor game and other indoor leagues. So, I mean, I take great pride in this. So I really see this. I mean, who knows? I mean, the sky's the limit as long as, you know, as long as things don't happen that happened in the past and we try to get too big, too fast and things like that. But I don't see it being that way. Like I said, Mr. Hutton is doing a great job of putting things together, and everybody's doing their respective jobs behind closed doors, and that's good. And then, you know, as long as this thing, we all know as you know, as an AFL coach, I know what's happening and what's gonna happen. So I'm full-fledged moving ahead with my recruiting, and we're playing games.
I love that. I love that. That's part of the reason why we wanted to get all you coaches on here, because I know there's a lot of enthusiasm from the teams, but the fans don't really get to see that often so far. So I think this is going to be really helpful for their optimism surrounding the league, and hopefully it has the desired effect. You spoke a moment ago about how you know how you'll use your offensive and defensive specialists. Kind of without giving away too many of your secrets, can you elaborate on how you expect to use these slots?
Well, you know, I mean, your offensive specialist, I mean, obviously your quarterback has to be you want him to be able to pull the trigger, but he also has to be a game manager in certain situations. Defenses aren't going to just sit in man coverage all game, so you got to be able to know when to throw your check downs and then know when to throw your touchdowns. You know what I mean? So your offense, your quarterback is important in that way. He's a game manager, and then we need him to be able to take his shots. Obviously, your OS, your offensive specialist, like I said, with me being a former guy that knows how it works, you need him to be a dog at all times, because this is a two-way game. There's going to be a time in there where you might not have your best 3 receivers in there at the same time, or offensive type of guys. You know what I'm saying? Or depending on how you build your roster, they might all be offensive type of guys, except for one other guy that might be kind of a defensive guy, you know, whatever, up to go with your defensive specialist. You know, so it kind of just depends on, but your offensive specialist has to be your best receiver that can make plays anytime, whether it's the first group or the second group. And then he also returns kicks and things like that. So you'd like him to be deadly. And then if you got a couple other guys or another guy, like when I played in Quad City, myself, I had 56 touchdowns, and my two-way guy had 40 touchdowns. I believe that's still the highest scoring duo in arena football history. So you got 2 guys that can kill it off the net, and then another guy who's a stud out there, receiver, DB. He's making plays like a defensive specialist, but also making plays like a receiver. Then you're doing pretty well. So again, I've seen this stuff, and this is the kind of stuff. I mean, when we go to camp, I got my videos right here. We're watching old Quad City stuff. We went 19-0, and that's what we're watching, and that's what we're going to be implementing right there. That stuff right there. How to win each play, every guy 1/8 every guy does his 1/8, and that creates a winning positive situation, and then that way you're winning plays and then winning games at the end of the day.
Coach, given your experience with the development of athletes over the past 25 years, what do you believe is the most important aspect of nurturing young talent?
Well, I mean, I guess part of it is just getting to know them as an athlete. You know what I'm saying? It's that's very important because, you know, you can be doing so many different things, running routes or speed training, whatever the case may be. But if you don't ever get to know that athlete, you know, kind of personally, what gets them going, how to motivate them, you know, give them a vision, and then with me doing what I'm teaching them to do, or what I've done in the past, it just carries over into, you know, the story that I'm giving them and what I'm trying to get across to them to get the best out of them. You know what I'm saying? So then that it becomes a more of a, I mean, yeah, you're their coach, but you're also kind of like their mentor, obviously a mentor or a counselor or whatever they might be going through. So they feel the connection. So that's how you're going to get the most out of your just like your job. You know, you're as a boss, if you don't treat your people right, don't talk to them right, don't get any kind of interpersonal relationship with them, then it's just going to be a distant situation, and then so you're not going to get the most out of them.
I'm just being myself, cool as can be. When I'm being myself, you wish you were me.
It's so easy. Get out your own way.
It's just so easy.
When I spoke with Coach Damon Ware recently from the Albany Firebirds, he mentioned something that it kind of piqued my curiosity a little bit, and I wanted to see how you felt about it. But he said he specifically seeks for players that have a little bit of room to grow, that have some things that need to be fixed because he knows he can take them to that next level in his system. I'm curious how you go about finding the correct balance in players that have a room to grow and then players that are a finished product that can come in and contribute right away.
Well, you know, I mean, they all, because you know what, in this game, they all can grow all the time. It's what you instill and what you want to instill as a coach, you know, because I mean, a guy could have played 8 years, but if he comes to play for me, I'm going to have different things that I'm telling him that he needs to be focusing and listening to and understanding for our philosophy. You know what I'm saying? So there's always good, but yeah, Coach Ware is correct with that. I mean, you got guys, you got guys who, and you, like for me, I end up weeding those guys out that have been around and they think they know too much or whatever. And there's no, in this game of arena football, and this is part of what I learned in the past. The better coach you got that can teach these guys, all of these guys, how to play this game the right way, the AFL way, because it's different than the indoor game. It's different than other leagues. And so the more you can get your guys to understand how to play this game and the little nuances and the intricacies of this game, the better off you'll be. I mean, you'll get, as a coach, you're going to get guys to hustle and run hard and do all those things. That's just the nature of the beast of this game. I mean, guys are, like you said, they're trying to grow, trying to go to NFL, this and that. But if you guys will see this year, if you're playing this game, if your team's not playing, or any team is not playing the game correctly, it's going to show in the product on the field. And that's not saying nobody's not trying hard or not hustling, but there's different ways. This is a different game. It's offensive minded. There's, like I said, a little bit more that goes. That's why the AFL, the grandfather league, you know, when Jim started this, he put a patent on it so that there was different nuances of this game that made it different than other leagues that came around that you know then had to change their rules so they weren't doing what the Arena League was doing.
Well, right on cue. Arena football has its unique challenges and nuances. What do you think is the biggest difference between coaching in the arena/indoor leagues versus the traditional outdoor leagues?
Well, for me, I mean, I'm just a big proponent. I love the arena game because of the, like for me, especially as a coach and a player, I mean, the openness of the game, the speed of the game, the one-on-one challenge it gives you. That's different, really different from obviously the outdoor game, but that's what makes the indoor game different from arena football too. Like I said, I played in the AFL 1999 before I played in the Arena League, and I led that league, 90 catches, 1,020 yards, and 20 touchdowns. But then when I went to the Arena League, I ended up with like 2,000 yards receiving, 1,600 yards return. So it was like a whole, like it was like you unleashed the dogs. You know what I'm saying? So I just like I like the rules, the like the onside kick stuff, your screens and gadgets. I mean, the fans, once they start watching this game, they'll see, yeah, your offenses are wide open, but the good teams will have their screens and gadgets taken care of, and you'll be seeing big guys scoring touchdowns and all that kind of stuff. So, it's just it's the little things that make it so great for me. But I go way back and I watched this game from the beginning, and then to be able to play for Jim Foster, who invented the game and helped win him his first championship. This game just means a lot. It's kind of like on a different level than most people experience.
Awesome. I love that answer. So I'm curious if you'll be holding any other titles in 2024. Like, obviously, you're an offensive guy. Will you be serving as the offensive coordinator and or wide receiver coach as well?
Well, I always coach my my quarterbacks and my receivers. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll be a little bit more hands-on with our secondary as well. I mean, I'll be all of it, but for the most part, offense, quarterbacks and receivers, and then like I said, working with the DBs. I got a guy, like I said, with the D line to help with that. But I'm gonna have my hand. This is my baby this year. This being in this league, it's a whole different thing. The IFL and the CIF was one thing, but this is the Arena League, and I'm I love this game, and it's done so much for me. So it'll be my baby this year.
Coach, the Marshals fans and the community will be eagerly looking forward to a new season under your leadership. What message do you have for them?
Well, the simple message is don't worry about anything. Just make sure you guys show up in full force and be loud. When the opposing team's offense is out there, make sure you guys are super loud. We'll make sure we do our end of the deal by scoring points and making sure that you guys get plenty of footballs as they're thrown around or happen during the course of a game. So I don't make a whole bunch of promises or nothing, but I can't wait to get out there, win some games, get to the playoffs, and see what happens from there.
Absolutely. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the regional style of play that the AFL is talking about, where it kind of cuts down on some of the travel costs and also makes it, cuts down a little bit of the wear and tear on those players from traveling so much?
Well, I mean, that's many years ago when as I talked to friends and stuff, that should have, if it was going to, alleviate some of the costs, then that should have happened a long time ago. So you can just play in different regions and you don't move and have to play a fly anywhere until like the last game before the championship or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So I think it makes a lot of sense. It helps, like you said, with costs and things, being that, I mean, yeah, this isn't the old school where you got the Bon Jovis and all that. And realistically, we don't need it to be any of that. We just need it to be the fan-friendly game that it's always been, and then make it not, stretch the owners out too far to where, it starts putting things in binds. As long as we keep it simple, the AFL, whether we're in New York, Los Angeles, Dallas, or whether you're in the Quad Cities or Billings, or people want to see football and they want to see scoring. So as long as the stands are filling up and the town is loving it and it's a good situation, then it's fine. It works. It doesn't have to all be in major cities to make it the AFL. Just the product alone is going to be good enough. Once these people start seeing people scoring and things are a little bit different, then that's that's what's going to make it good. So it doesn't matter if we're in really big markets or as long as they can hold the nets in the end zones, we're good.
Coach, on behalf of Outlaw Nation and the Shady Sports Network, we wish you much success in Rapid City. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.